We begin this afternoon with breaking news about a terrible crash near Lyman in the eastbound lanes of I-70. We now know 2 cars were involved. We're told 4 people died in this crash, 2 children among them. CDOT says the eastbound lanes are closed all the way back to Byers. That's about 30 miles west of this crash. We're hoping to learn a little bit more about what happened. Just a tragic story to start the 4 o'clock newscast, but we'll update you as we learn a little bit more. A major setback for the family of the Boulder attack suspect. A judge has ruled their deportation can move ahead.
The suspect's wife and 5 children have been in ICE custody for a month. 9 News Investigates reporter Jeremy Hohola joins us to explain the latest on this.
Yeah, today a federal judge ruled the deportation of the suspect's family can move forward for 2 reasons. The first one being they are receiving proper due process now, and number 2, the court said it does not have the authority to intervene in this type of immigration case. A few days after the June 1st attack in Boulder, the suspect's wife and 5 children were detained by ICE. That suspect, Mohammed Solomon, is accused of throwing 2 Molotov cocktails at a peaceful group of people, injuring more than a dozen of them on the Pearl Street Mall. One of the victims died this past week. He's now facing a murder charge, and a number of victims is up to 29. The White House tweeted out the deportation of the suspect's family would be expedited. Immigration attorneys for the family were able to stave off the deportation process 2 weeks ago. They convinced a judge to pause their removal by claiming the family was not receiving their due process because of the expedited deportation. However, today, a judge ruled the family is not undergoing an expedited removal. They do have due process and that their deportation can move forward. The judge also said the court does not have the authority to rule on this immigration case. I was able to contact one of the immigration attorneys for this family. He said they are still processing this ruling. It is unknown what their next move will be. In the meantime, though, it is no doubt a setback in the family's quest to not only get out of custody, but to also stay in the United States. Back to you, Alex.
Jeremy, thank you. The case against the last officer facing charges for the death of Christian Glass has been dismissed. Colorado courts told us today that no public criminal record exists for former Georgetown Police Marshal Randy Williams. Williams was one of the 6 officers on the scene that night at Clear Creek County Sheriff's deputy shot and killed Glass after he wouldn't get out of his car. All 6 were charged with failure to intervene. 3 cases were dismissed after officers reached a plea agreement with prosecutors. That included making a police training video on excessive force. 9 News reached out to the DA for information on an agreement in Williams' case, but we have not heard back.
This is the 11th day in Colorado with 90 degrees or above. People over at Elitch's cooling off at the water park today. A good day to dip your toe in some water. Our weather impact team is tracking storms, though, for the holiday weekend. We kind of expect that here and there, Chris, but we don't want too much at the wrong time. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. It's all about timing, isn't it, right? We don't mind those storms maybe on the 2nd of July, on the 7th of July, but on the 4th of July, kind of want Mother Nature to kind of behave a little bit. We're gonna have some storms around. Meantime, right now, low to mid-90s, Mother Nature mostly behaving around the Denver area today, just a bit on the hot side. Highs today already about 93, 94 for us here in town. Greeley 98, very hot up there. 94 in Rocky Ford, 70s and 80s in the high country. We are seeing some showers and storms flaring up, mainly in southwestern Colorado right now. Seeing a few of those storms, occasional lightning strike or 2 up by Rocky Mountain National Park. But these storms much more isolated compared to what we had yesterday and back on Monday as well. And that severe weather threat very low for us, just a few downpours from the San Juans on north here to the western slope on this Wednesday. As we head over the next few hours, it'll stay dry for us here in Denver. Those storms will be confined to the mountains. However, those storms start to trickle down into the Front Range tomorrow with a higher chance for storms perhaps on the 4th of July and this upcoming weekend. We'll time it out for you in your full forecast in a few minutes.
More than 2.5 years after the murders of 4 University of Idaho students, Brian Kohlberger admitted to court to those crimes.
Today, a plea deal was made official. We first heard about this a couple of days ago, and today was the first day we heard from Kohlberger himself. NBC's Jay Gray is outside that courthouse in Idaho.
The murder of Madison Mogan, how do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Brian Koberger staring blankly at the judge, admitting for the first time he viciously stabbed to death 4 University of Idaho students.
The first-degree murder of Ethan Chapin, a human being. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Video streamed from inside the courtroom doesn't show the sobbing friends and family of the victims.
He did that with the intent to kill.
But those cameras did capture the emotion of Prosecutor Bill Thompson when sharing details of the case for the judge to consider during sentencing, mentions their names.
He then killed intentionally, willfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Cruz.
Kaylee Gonsalvez's father was not in the courthouse, outraged at the plea deal and what he says was the lack of input from victims' families during the process.
We didn't agree on anything. He only negotiated with the murder of our children. That was the only person that he negotiated with. He didn't give us the common courtesy to negotiate with us.
More than 2.5 years after the murders, the pain still overwhelming. The off-campus apartment where the attacks took place is gone. Plaques and balloons, a small memorial where it once stood. It's summer break for the University of Idaho, but for many, there is no break from the fear and loss after what happened here.
Never really locked my doors at night before, and I have ever since. Well, I think the town is healing, but I don't think it'll ever be the same.
Sentencing for Koberger is set for July 23rd. Jay Gray, NBC News, Boise, Idaho.
Denver Public Schools is urging the Trump administration to release already approved federal funding for schools. DPS says they get around $96 million in federal funding every year. That goes to things like Head Start, meal reimbursements, and title programs. DPS says the Trump administration is withholding about $10 million in title programs. And it's not just Denver. The State Department of Education also says they're missing funding for title programs and other grants. Today, the U.S. House got back to President Trump's tax cut bill. It passed in a tie-breaking vote in the Senate yesterday, with the vice president passing that final vote. Here's a live look at the House floor. The House on the vote on the bill is being bogged down by holdouts earlier this afternoon. The House floor was open for 2 hours on procedural votes. We'll continue to follow the latest on the status of this bill. President Trump is putting pressure on Republicans. He wants it on his desk by Friday. Every 4th of July, 911 call centers just get flooded with complaints about illegal fireworks. To help their staff, Wheat Ridge Police may use drones to help with their enforcement.
9 News reporter Courtney Yoon spoke with Wheat Ridge Police, who dealt with tons of calls for service last year just for fireworks alone.
Over a 3-day period last year, starting on July 3rd, Wheat Ridge Police had 103 calls for service just for fireworks. It's why they're using drones in some situations to help respond to some of these complaints. Wheat Ridge Police says they've had a drone program for a little more than a year now. Over the 4th of July holiday, they'll only use the drones in specific circumstances. For example, if reports of illegal fireworks come from wooded areas or spots that are difficult to get to, officers may deploy a drone, or they might use them for overwatch. That means they'd fly the drone straight up while zooming out to relay information to officers on the ground, giving them a better directional sense of where fireworks are coming from. Any firework that leaves the ground or explodes in Colorado is generally considered illegal because of fire danger and safety risk. In Wheat Ridge, violating this code is a misdemeanor that could land you a $1,000 fine or 90 days in jail or both.
We try to make sure that we have plenty of officers to man the streets during those days. We are going to be proactive in terms of having a lot of boots on the ground. We're going to be spread out throughout the city. But one of the tools that we have in our toolbox is drones.
Wheat Ridge Police wants to remind residents that other crimes don't take a holiday over the July 4th weekend. But to help with call volume, Jefferson County's 911 call dispatch center has set up a fireworks hotline. That number is on your screen now. It's 303-980-7340. That number will be active starting tomorrow at 7 p.m. or you can also report a firework complaint online. In Wheat Ridge, Courtney Yoon, 9 News.